Shall we talk about football before regular season kicks off?
Sure.
There's one big piece of news out of football world this week.
Well, we'll start with the small one, and then we can talk
yeah.
about the role that you've assigned yourself to.
Oh boy.
So the small news one is the Cleveland Browns. They got rid of another quarterback.
What?
I do believe earlier this week they traded Kenny Pickett, so they're now down to 5 quarterbacks.
Geez, their strat's never going to work off if they keep shedding quarterbacks like this.
Unfortunately, the Raiders did lose Aiden O'Connell. He got hurt like at the end of a preseason game or whatever. It broke his hand.
I do remember that. Yeah.
So they needed a guy to back up Gino because he's a little bit old himself too. He'd never be too safe. And Kenny Pickett, he was not going to be a guy. So there is potential out there that...
Hasn't Kenny Pickett already been a Raider too?
No, he was Pittsburgh last couple years. He was drafted. He's the man with the little hands, and they didn't like that.
That's right.
Quarterback with the little hands. But there is a world out there, a timeline out there, which Shadur or Dylan Gabriel steps out there and could be playing for the Browns.
Yeah.
If something does, we have to remember Flacco is also an old man. One wrong tackle, and we got rookie shows out there.
Wrong tackle, just get out of bed wrong.
Yep.
You never know when it's going to be a lower body injury out for 2 weeks.
Yep. So that's a crazy thought that we'd never be here after having a million quarterbacks on the roster.
And still quite a few more than average.
They are still up to 5, which I guess it's 4 now.
When a lot of teams are like, do we do 2 or 3?
And they're like, we have 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they have one on the practice squad too, which is like 5.
Essentially, yeah.
That's too many. Far too many.
Still a lot.
Indeed. Now, you assigned yourself the role of being a representative of the labor union.
Sure.
Funny enough, let's say you are the representative of the labor union. Unfortunately, it's going to be the NFL PA, not the ideal labor union of these days right now.
No, not the first foot we want to put forward for labor unions here on Labor Day weekend.
No, not ideally. But let's say you yourself, you're a representative of this union. We'll even maybe put you in a good role like executive or assistant executive. I hear they're looking for those these days.
Delightful.
Let's say you hear that one of your players is sort of talking to an owner, and the owner has apparently done a handshake deal with said player without his representative being around. Is that okay?
No, that's definitely not ideal.
I most say no, and in fact, I'm pretty sure the bylaws of the NFLPA say...
Yeah, I'm pretty certain we'd have to start looking at lawsuits sort of thing.
Yeah, most would agree with that, but Jerry Jones himself says, I'm untouchable, and he decided that is what is going to happen, and how we ended up in this Micah Parsons situation that we've been sort of talking about this offseason, will they, won't they, sort of deal. And
seems like they have to.
I didn't, yeah, the issue is so I didn't know, and we've gotten a little bit more details, is how this all came about is Jerry Jones and brought Micah up, I think, towards the end of last season or somewhere in the spring, like early on when the season was pretty much done. They're like, hey, what would it take for you? I think they were just discussing how the season went, and he's like, hey, what would it take for you to be a Cowboy? And Micah's like, this is sort of what I would ideally want.
Here's the ballpark.
Yeah. And Jerry Jones like, cool, we can do that, done deal. And Micah Parsons says, cool, reach out to my agent.
Put that on paper.
He was like, reach out to my agent with this. And Jerry was like,
no, we just did it. That was your deal.
That's what the deal was. And he was like, well, we haven't even just started to. So this is where we have the separation between Jerry Jones is like, we have a deal set, and Michael's like, we haven't even started to discuss about what a deal is. Because my agent,
I do not consider that actual work or legally binding in any fashion. Yeah, like every other player would, I would say.
Some players, I will say, represent themselves, so it is a thing that happens, but they'll have like outside people come and look and make sure the contract is all good.
And generally those fellas have taken some sort of self-interest in making sure they understand contract language and
sure, or have a team around them that will do so. Micah did not. He is represented by an agent, and his deal does need to go through his agent that he is represented by per the NFLPA bylaws, which I'm pretty sure is a finable offense.
Oh, for sure.
Funny enough, it's not no quiz here, but what do you think how much do you think that finable offense is for the owner?
Let's see, probably in a 6-figure range, maybe like $100,000 or something.
That's funny. It's $65,000 for your first offense.
Yeah.
$65,000 is for your first offense, which is what this would be for Jerry Jones, but they haven't fined him or anything. And earlier this week, they said well, Micah's not going to play, and we're Jerry Jones' ego is like, I'm not going to go to discuss a deal with his agent, which is apparently the father of this mother and father deal that they have going on. That since Jerry already had a deal worked out with him, clearly, which is what we just discussed. And Micah's like, no. And Jerry said, well, we're not going to discuss it anymore. And the Packers came in and said, what if we enter this situation? Maybe we take on your problem. We give you some stuff back. And Jerry Jones said, sure, that sounds good. So Jerry sent Micah packing out to Green Bay for a player and 2 first-round draft picks.
Which, I mean, seems like almost a little bit of an overpay from the Packers' point of view. But
Packers also signed Micah to, I do believe, a $118 million or $15 million deal, and it's like $42 million a year, making him the highest paid non-QB ever.
Which, I mean, to me, sounds like Micah comes away the winner in this whole situation. Out of Dallas, gets a nice little payday.
Out of Dallas.
Green Bay is still very... You're going to go face those Cowboys a couple times.
You are going to see them at least once this year, I'd assume. Yeah. Maybe not, depending on... I'd have to look at their schedule. Green Bay... Dallas did so poorly last year, they may not see Green Bay.
But yeah, that is... I mean, the biggest thing was that, yes, the whole kerfuffle has finally resulted in a trade, which I did think was the likeliest outcome. It did not look like Micah was getting ready to do any football activities for Dallas.
I think Micah would have settled had we gotten the whole deal figured out, but I think Jerry Jones was so set on the deal. The problem is right, he had this deal set, making him the largest paid back in I don't know, like March or whatever it was, March, April-ish, when he called Micah up to his office. So back then, highest paid for him was like $32 million, something around there, something in that ballpark. Now we have players 35, 36,
yeah, more
42.
deals get done.
Now it's a problem. Jerry didn't want to pay it, basically cough up that extra money, and he had agreed to the highest paid.
Thought he already had an agreement in place, which
Yep.
is just an insane thing for a businessman in 2025 to think that. I don't. That is such the like old white man thinking of. Well, this is how we did it back in my day, and that's totally fine, and I expect it to be the whims to be bent to my thinking, and everyone else in the world is being like, no, Jerry, you have to write it down in a contract, and it has to be signed, and it has to be looked at by lawyers.
It's foreign to him. He's done a lot. So if you ever watched I just sat through the whole Cowboys documentary on Netflix. There's 8 episodes, about an hour or so each. His whole thing is he's all about sort of the handshake, word of mouth deal. That's like sort of how he got the Cowboys and how he's just always operated.
And I hate to tell you, Jerry, but the world has passed you by in your 82 years now, and that's just not the way things work anymore.
Yeah, I don't know why he thought that would work in today's world, especially now that there's a lot more power in the players' hands than there used to be.
It's not even like this has been a thing in the near past or like recent history. No, the players like union and agents and everything have been around for quite a while, standard since the 90s at least. So, I mean, why did he think? If anything, it feels like it's trying to take advantage of your employees who don't know better or who might not understand their rights in that situation.
Yeah, I think he felt a little slighted because it's like, well, we agreed on this, and he kind of Jerry Jones is he does some good things and he does some bad things. He always tries to kind of look out for the players, but he's also looking out for himself and the organization as well. So it's like you said, it's a weird thing. I don't know how to feel about. I mean, I know how to feel about the whole situation. It's disgusting. But the weird thing to me was on the way out. Like, I don't think he really even thanked Micah for the press conference. All he said is, "We need to be better at stopping the run," which was like his. The
focus. Very fun thing was watching them trying to spin it all this week of like, no, this was a good decision that we would have made anyway, and we do think it makes us a stronger team, even though. That was like one of your best players who's going to be playing against you this year.
So watching the documentary, I've learned a lot about the Dallas Cowboys organization that I may or may not needed to know, but it comes in handy for this podcast moment. So if we look back at sort of what the dynasty of the Cowboys were in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that was a combination of Jerry Jones, of course, being the owner GM that he is, and then Jimmy Johnson sort of being the football mind that he is. There's always been this disconnect and discontent between them because Jimmy always felt like he was sort of the ringmaster and sort of puppet master of combining all the Cowboys, bringing in Troy Aikman or helping draft Troy Aikman, and then bringing in Emmitt Smith and everyone else on that team. He's been sort of the scout and the drafter for. Which now, that if we go back, hindsight's a little bit more 2020 now. We look at all the people that Jerry Jones, without the hand of Jimmy Johnson or someone else, sort of in his ear.
In hindsight, it was less of a wow, what a powerful combination, and more of a actually, it was mostly just Jimmy.
It really feels like it's just mostly Jimmy at this point, because even when they won the year that they won without him with Switzer was still a mostly Jimmy team. Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman,
it's still Smith, the framework of what
everything that Jimmy put together still, which is still, I think it's hard for Jerry Jones' ego is such a big thing that it's hard for him to accept that, and also he will not let go of the reins because he wants to run this team, and unfortunately he is running them straight to the ground. That is.
This reminds me of the quote from The Dark Knight, where Two-Face, played by Aaron Eckhart, is having the dinner with Christian Bale Batman, and he says the thing about you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And at the time, as a younger man, like, kind of cheesy line, don't really get. And it has just continued to prove more and more wise and prescient the longer I continue to live. And it very much feels like, yes, this is Jerry Jones kind of getting high on his own supply, just like, gets into his head that, I'm a football genius and cannot be wrong.
I understand where he's coming from, but also, like, the ego in sports, you have to have a big ego in general to get to becoming a professional athlete. Like, at some point, everyone on the field was the guy somewhere. And if you're the owner of a team, you have to be a guy somewhere to have that amount of money. If you're a coach, it's the same thing. You've been a sort of a touted guy for at least a few years before you got that job, if not more. Like, it's all of these dudes who are just a bunch of egos running around and sort of how to manage all that. But if the dude who's controlling the team and is like the biggest issue with the team, and for us, for most teams, it's not the owner who's also the GM. Never. It's the Dallas.
Very rarely, yeah.
Dallas is the only place where this happens, where Jerry has this sort of control and is the only one that can do self-harm to his own team.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique situation in this day and age to still have the owner be in that direct control of the roster.
I can't imagine it's happened literally anywhere else. Like, back in the olden days when we first started to have the leather helmets and George Clooney's out there playing.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, that's kind of the thing that got Mike Shanahan run out of the league, was that he wanted.
So that's a little different.
It's a little different, but like that notion of having the full control of like being the coach and the GM and all that has very quickly gone out of style across the league, I would say.
It doesn't happen anywhere. Bill Belichick was the last one to do that.
The end of the era.
Yeah. But I think that one is so different because it's like having a coach and general manager be the same person doesn't hurt my head so much because
there's still an employee who can be removed.
Still an employee, and as the owner, I can look at my product and be like, this is not right, and I can replace somebody who can bring in a new or different perspective. But if I am the reason my product is the way it is, and I only see, unfortunately, whatever it is, gold or dollar bills attached to this, as Dallas, I think, is like the top 2 most valuable franchises in the world of professional sports.
That seems a little high, but okay.
It
maybe for like football teams.
No, I think it's in the world.
No way. The European football clubs got to be worth more.
Hit the Google machine. They are worth, I think it's like $4-something billion, making them the highest. I think they are the highest value team, like professional sports team.
Well, I'll be proven wrong immediately by the Wikipedia results. In the Forbes list, the most valuable sports team, rank number 1, Dallas Cowboys, $10.1 billion. Yep. Okay, so this is Forbes.
Yes.
It does include Association Football. Wow.
They do, yes.
Okay, so much to my chagrin, we don't get a Premier League team until Manchester United in at the 14th spot. at 6.5 billion.
Yes.
Wild. Okay, yeah. Cowboys, Golden State, LA Rams, New York Yankees, and New York Knicks round out your top five, for anyone curious. That five spot coming in at $7.5 billion valuation.
Yes.
Wild. Okay, well, I learned a little something there.
Yeah. So I don't know how you like the team is still valuable and he is bringing value, but also the product is horrendous.
And, there's still that element of there's no such thing as bad press, and that even if it is us talking about how incompetent and egotistical and out of touch Jerry Jones is, we're still talking about Jerry Jones, and that is value to their brand.
I don't know. I don't know if the Cowboy fans have it in them to do just an outright ban of what is it when you
boycotting?
Boycott of
you can't pull that off down there.
Yeah, I just think they have too many fans just globally around the world.
Yeah, the amount of organization to hurt one of the biggest billionaires in sports would be staggering, and I would love to see it, but I do not think it's likely.
Yeah, I just don't think that's happening. So the maniac can continue to live on.
All right. Well, any other football news we need to cover before we have coverage of week 1 action next week?
I do not believe
the Micah news was kind of the big thing this week. Everyone has trimmed down to their 53-man roster for the most part. There have been some late additions and whatnot after cuts have been made and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't think there's been anyone who's been surprised. I think the biggest news here was we only have 2 quarterbacks on our roster like a normal team. Sam Ellinger, who was our third one, he had a pretty good preseason showing through and through. He did get offered some spots to go onto a 53-man roster, and he said, "I'm gonna hang here."
Yeah. I think that's a good sign for our roster construction that a lot of our cast-off guys got picked up by other teams too.
Yeah.
Which is mostly the takeaway I had, but otherwise, we will be next week. Hopefully, have some coverage on that week 1 matchup against Tennessee for the Broncos, as well as the other week 1 action around the NFL.